Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, we're down here by the creek with Dan Lutz from Abnormal Outdoors, and we are practicing some snaring, and we're looking to get some beaver. So stay tuned. Alright, so as I said before, I'm down here with Dan Lutz from Abnormal Outdoors, and I would encourage you to go to his channel and check it out, and I'll make sure that there's a link down in the description box. But anyway, I want Dan to tell us a little bit about himself and why he's the guy that I called on to come down here and to help us with our nuisance problem. So Dan, go ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first of all, I want to thanks for the invite down from James. He's got a little nuisance problem behind us on the river here. We all know I don't get around good, so I need an extra hand. So I'm kind of teaching him how to take care of his beaver problems. My name's Dan Lutz, of course, and then I have a channel called Abnormal Outdoors, YouTube channel. But I've been trapping for probably 40 plus years. I know it's a dying sport. It's hard to get into. I've made it through the thick and thin when like today, the fur prices are no good. And so I just always did it, and that's what I like to do. I also like playing with a lot of knives, a lot of skinning, and stuff like that. But this is my way of self-reliance, of feeding my family and stuff.
So yeah, another thing that I would like to know, you are a licensed trapper here in the state of Ohio.
Yes, I'm a licensed nuisance trapper.
Licensed nuisance trapper, right. And of course that's what we have. And a lot of people may not understand about what beavers do to the environment. So could you speak a little bit to that? Well,
the thing about a beaver, they do two things to the environment. They actually help the environment sometimes by making dams and making wetlands. When we have wetlands, we have duck production, more turtles, more snakes, everything goes up. The muskrat population comes up. The problem is when the population goes up, beaver, they're destructive. They build dams, they also flood fields out, they tear up the bank dens tear up the bank, and it changes the river flow. So, and they actually destroy a ton of trees along the bank, which the trees help hold the bank of the river together. So there's a lot of destructive, but we gotta keep them in check. We want them here. They're good to be here. They're good for the environment, but when the numbers get overpopulated, because there's really no natural predators in Ohio for beaver. Right. And so because they're bank dens or huts, and they're very hard to get through. They've had stories grizzly bears can't dig out their dens. So it'll give you an idea, there's not a whole lot of predators for them. Right. So that's why we're here. Plus, if we can utilize this for the food, the fur's worth really little, but they're very good to eat. People are astonished that I eat the beavers.
Okay.
So,
well, I hope we get one.
I hope so. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be cooking one.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to get a snare set for a beaver. He's climbing this hill. We have a dam break down there. He needs the wood. If you notice down in here, all the beaver track, we got really a lot of fresh sign. When you're going to set this snare up, the key to setting the snare up on beaver is when he gets caught, he's going to chew every of these trees. If you can't get that cable real low, because he'll work all night on this tree thinking he's caught by the tree. So this is the key about snaring beavers, is getting it down. Now I like to run about a 8 or 9 inch loop. Okay, what I'm doing is I'm going to set a snare stand. This is twisted wire. You can see it. I make these up in the garage. What I want to do is I want to go around here. And all this is going to do is hold the snare. So I want to get kind of where I need to be at. And why I wrap this is a thin wire. Thin wire are cheaper to use. And what that allowed me to do is hang a snare where I want it to be. So then we come up here and get my whammy out here. Set my loop where I think I'm good. Tap into my whammy. It kind of takes a little bit of fiddling to get with it. Wrap my snare. I'm gonna wrap this up a little bit, stiffens up the cable. And remember what I told you is it's about, there's no right set, because here I'm in southern Ohio on a banked river I've never been in. I'm standing really funny, you know, so I can't say go out and do this set because it's constant adjustment, constantly figuring out the puzzle, what I like to call it. Now, what I want him to do, I need to stay about an inch off the ground. I'll get this bend right. Like I said, they're fidgety. It takes a little patience. Now, you see that? Because his head's going to be on the ground, it's going to be looking up the trail. I want that bottom cable to hit him in the chest. Okay, so now what I'm looking for is dead sticks. Can you get me a few dead sticks? Because it's called guarding him in here. I'm going to block him in. Okay, what I'm doing now, guys, is because I want to funnel him in. And all animals will walk of the least resistance.
Right.
So he's already got an established trail here, but because I got a snare off of him, I don't want him walking around. I want to guide him in. So these are called guide sticks. Okay. So if you see, I'm just poking them in here. Remember, energy, calories spent is calories lost. So he's the same way. It's wintertime. He don't want to expend as much energy as he can. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just guarding him in. Don't have to be natural looking. I mean, he don't care. He's a beaver. Okay, so now when he comes up this trail, he's going to come up here. Now next what I'm going to do is I'm going to get me a fresh stick. Now I need a green stick. Okay, so go cut me a green stick. Okay, now we got a stick. We peeled the bark off of it. Why? This is a bait stick. This is going to tell him there's food up here and somebody's been in his area. Now what I'm looking for is to aggravate this beaver and tell him, hey, I'm another beaver in here and I've been chewing your wood. So he's going to get curious and come up the top of this hill and look at this bait stick. Okay, so I need to stick without knocking your snare over, which I have. So right here in the center of the trail. Okay, now that seems kind of simple, but trust me, it works. Okay, the second thing I want to do, it smells like trapping. I love the smell of it, man. It's not bad. Okay, what I'm going to do is take a stick. And a lot of guys put a lot, little, whatever. It's part gland and it's lure to get him up here. So what I want to try to do is bring him in. And the wind currents, all wind, this is a big tip for you guys. All the air comes down both banks like if you picture the air currents like water. Water's going to fall both into the river, okay? And that's going to move up or down river depending on stuff, depending on winds and everything. So if you think about the river of the air running like water into the river, when I put a scent down here, the cold air, especially at night, is going to force the air down. The scent's going to come here and scatter in the river. So it's okay to be high because we know the air is going to drop into the river. So that's a big tip for you guys, understanding that the river, even though it's water, water runs downhill, but the air does too. And if we know that, it helps us attract more game. We can cover more area with a scent because remember, I'm pitching all this water down here. You know how fast the air coming down. It's like flowing. So how much territory can I cover with this one gland? Does that make sense to you? And so that's what I'm talking about here. I'll get that nice and stirred up anyway. We'll get him in here. We'll be over there camping. He'll be up here hunting. Look at that. So now, remember I talked to you about understanding the animal in this? And understanding his needs, his wants, and his territories and how he is. Now I got a scent gland here. He's like, whoa, wait a minute. Who come down in my dam? Now I'm getting aggravated. I come up here, somebody's feeding up here. So he's not worried about the snare. He's coming up here mad to investigate. So see, if I can break him, he's not going to be looking at this wire because he's going to charge up this hill. Does that make sense to you? Okay. So this is my #1 way to snare beavers. I usually don't snare beaver, or I mean trap beavers anymore because it's so much better to snare them. It's lighter. Look at this, no equipment. Okay, hey guys, while we're down here, what we're looking at is we have a beaver dam right behind me. Now that was a pretty good beaver dam, but this has been flooded out and it knocked down. So the beaver's down here really working hard to put that back. So what we're doing is, what I'm looking for is that beaver dam. I'm looking for slides. And if you see, you follow the bank down this way, and you can actually go all the way around and see where we're at and what we're looking for. And when we get down there, look what's out ahead on the other side of the creek. Them are two big dams. Oh, I'm sorry, they're two big dens. The beaver do not make huts in the river. They make bank dens, and people don't understand what they're looking at. That's why they're so destructive to rivers, because when they get in there, that'll eventually, when they abandon it, it will cave back in. So that's why we want them out of here. We gotta keep the numbers in check with them. But you can see how big them do. I've actually swum in them, and they're big enough for me to walk into. It's how major, and that's why they can handle flooding, because where you see the hole coming in and out of the water, that hole that we see today can be covered up, but the bank, their huts, is way up underneath the ground. That's why they're very hard to catch by other predators, is because of their hut. But that'll give you an idea what to look for when you're beaver trapping. And these are massive dens. If I could get over there, I'd set both them dens.
And our fire's going good. We're just relaxing, enjoying the quiet night while our snares are out there waiting for the beaver to hit. Alright, we're here with Dan Lutz, and we've been sharing back and forth around the campfire, and he's going to tell some other things that's happened to him during the course of his trapping career, which spans what, how many years?
40 plus.
40 plus years.
Yeah.
You started when you were pretty young.
Pretty young. I really don't know.
Right.
We just did it.
Right. Your family did it, and it's something that you just grew up. You learned from a lot of old timers.
There was a lot of school kids that I went to school with. Trapping.
A lot of kids.
Everybody did.
Right.
It was a commodity. It was money involved. Beaver trapping is dangerous.
Yeah.
It's dangerous. You can step in a hole with your waders on. I mean, I've been stuck in quicksand and with my waders on. I've been wet. I've been over my waders. I cut boots, and if you're running a line like I was, you always cut your boot on the first one, not on the last one.
Right. It has to leak the whole time.
It does. And there's nothing more miserable than, you got a cut boot, you go to the truck, it leaks out, you get in the truck, you move the truck, you go to the next one, and then you step back down the cold water on your next set, and it's like, here it comes up the lake, like, why do I do this? It's a lot easier sitting at home, man.
Right.
You know, but it's
that's good stuff.
That's kind of the stories we talk about. One thing I want to go over the safety. You know, it's very dangerous, but it's very exciting too. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, trappers are loners. You know, we're by ourselves. Right. And so you got to be able to self-rescue. Mm-hmm. You know. So that's kind of the stories I try to tell people about trapping. Is it's great to go out and catch a bunch of stuff, but you can get in a lot of trouble. Right.
Well, good morning. It's a beautiful morning. It's quite cold, and we had a real good night. I don't know, I got down in the 20s. Not super cold, but definitely chilly. Anyway, slept in the canvas tarp tent last night. Get a little bit better view here. My MSS sleep system, and underneath it is my poncho liner. Kind of rolled that up and used that for a pillow, my Wooby, and underneath it is just a Thermarest, not self-inflating, just one of the foam mattresses. But anyway, had a pretty good night. It was a little cool, but stayed nice and warm. All right, so here we are back at the creek, and next day, of course, and we got a beaver. So I'll show you what it looks like here in just a second, but it's pretty exciting. And like I said, been doing a lot of damage down both sides of the creek. So this is really good news. Of course, we're kind of excited because we're going to be working on cleaning them up and eating some beaver meat here in a little bit.
Hey guys, Dan Lutz, Abnormal Outdoors today. Down here with James Bender of Waypoint Survival, doing a little nuisance and trapping stuff. I'd like to scan down here and show you guys how to snare a beaver. Stay tuned for the videos, but there's your beaver, guys. So.
Well, it's evening time, and Dan had to leave and go home. He's got some obligations, things he has to take care of, and so we're still here, of course, but we ended up skinning out the beaver and cutting up the meat, and we're going to be cooking some of that, not on camera, but for just our personal consumption. Anyway, we've got the beaver tail on the coals, and we're going to be showing you that here in just a little bit. We're going to eat some of it, let you know what we think about the taste. It will be my first time to ever eat beaver tail, and I understand back in the days of the mountain men and the trappers, it was considered a real delicacy, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that tastes like. Anyway, real privileged to be out here with Dan Lutz from Abnormal Outdoors. He's a master trapper. I feel very privileged to have him as a friend and also as a mentor. I've learned a lot from him these last 2 days. All right, well, stay tuned. We get this cooking here. And here's the beaver tail. And just cooking on the coals. Of course, we don't want to cook over fire. And the neat thing about beaver tail is that it has its own built-in timer. When it starts to pop, and you can see it, it'll start to get ripples and pops in it, kind of like popcorn. But that's a sign that it's done. And then we'll take it off the fire and try it out. All right, well, it's done, and we're going to go ahead and take it off here. Of course, wearing our leather gloves, and you can see here how the skin is coming off of it. All right, looks good. Has a bit of a fishy smell to it. All right, well, here it is. We've got it on a slab of wood, and it's cooled down somewhat, so we're going to dig in and see what we think. Take my glove off here. All right. Just going to use my spoon and peel off some of this outer flesh here. Alright, get down into here where this is cooked. Alright, so here's a piece of it, and let's see what it's like. It's good. It's very fatty. It's like fat and gristle almost entirely, and it has a flavor a little bit like fish, just a little, but really well cooked like this, it doesn't taste bad at all. Now, I had it on the fire about, I would say 15 to 20 minutes. And I did flip it over just a little bit, but mostly just cooked on one side. You know, this top part is kind of burnt, so you just want to kind of scrape that away. And that's pretty easy to do. You just do it with a spoon, and it pretty well scrapes off. Just like that. And then you can just take the spoon and just kind of dig in like this. Get in there. And there we go. That's what it looks like. It's not bad. Like I said before, very fatty, kind of gristly, but I could definitely see why the mountain men would probably enjoy this. It's pretty tasty. Probably with a little salt, it would taste real good. I mean, it tastes good now, but salt would really bring out some flavor in it. All right, first time eating beaver tail, and it gets a thumbs up from me. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure and check out the links in the description box below. And while you're down there, make sure and check out the Teespring link, which is located just below the description box. There you can buy great Waypoint Survival merchandise, which goes to help support the channel and the ongoing research that we do to bring you video content. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. When you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time. Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, we're down here on the river with Dan Lutz from Abnormal Outdoors.
There's your outtake.
That's an outtake right there, yeah. All right. Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, we're down here with... I'm like, no, outdoors. We're down here with Dan Lutz from Abnormal Outdoors.
We're going to be here all day on intro, man.
We're just forever on an intro.
I was working with a professional here, man.
It looks professional. I can edit all my videos.
Yeah,
now you found out how unprofessional I am.
Kidding, man.
190 videos and I'm still messing with this stuff.
Okay, wait a minute. You just messed me up, dude. Okay. Wait a minute, don't hit that. Wait a minute. Right. I'm James Bender from Waypoint Survivor, and I can't get nothing done. I got to do his intro for him because he just can't do it. I'm James Bender, Waypoint Survivor. I'm here with Dan Lutz. We're going to do some trapping on the river. Have a nice day. Man, I know how it is.
It's awful.